Welcome back to Awesome Possible Hobbies and Games. I am Chris, and today we are celebrating the release on Magic Arena of Murders at Karlov Manor. Today is packet opening day, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have some time to be able to play some sealed events. But first, let's go ahead and start with the pack opening and see what we got to be able to build some decks out of. So pack opening today, I bought the 50 packs. Yes, 50 packs is significant. I can't wait to go through and open some packs to be able to see what I got. And more importantly, I like more than opening packs. I like playing sealed events. I don't have much coinage and gems to start with. In fact, before I go anywhere else, let's take a look at my rare and mythic wild cards, which is not significant because I didn't really play much of Caves. Caves was I've been busy making other kinds of videos, and I haven't had a chance to really play much of one of my favorite things, which is Magic Arena. But now it's new set, time to be able to play. Time is going to come to be able to play some cards. So let's go ahead and start with buildings, seeing what cards I have to build and modify existing decks. So, rare. Aurelia, the Law Above, for 1 white, 1 red, 3 colorless. It's a 4/4 legendary creature. Angel with flying, vigilance, and haste. Wow, what an angel. Adding that red gives you the addition of haste and a bunch of other abilities. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you get to draw a card. So it's not just any player, it's not just you, but any player attacks with 3 or more creatures. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, this card deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 life. So it has a built-in lightning helix whenever someone attacks with 5 or more creatures. Wow! And then on top of that, someone attack with 3 or more creatures, so you get to draw an additional card during that time. Hopefully it's something to be able to defend yourself with, or if you're attacking something, to be able to have some kind of anthem effect that you can attack and then go off and do a ton of damage. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Especially for a 5-drop for a 4/4 flying with haste. It's so good. Rare mythic. Let's keep getting those rare mythics, rare mythic wild cards, because they're going to help you build decks. But first, I get a artifact 2-drop Cryptics. Tap, collect evidence 3, and add 1 mana of any color. Put an unlock counter on Cryptics. Sacrifice Cryptics, surveil 3, and then draw 3 cards. Activate only if it has 5 or more counters on it. So there's a few different things going on with this. You're able to produce mana, but you have to take cards out of your graveyard to do that cost 3 or more. That's only adding 1 mana. So that's the part that's not the kicker, is you're able to put counters on it. And once you have done it 5 or more times, then you're able to go through and sacrifice it to surveil 3, put more cards in your graveyard, changing up where your draw is, and then you draw 3 cards, and then it's going to be in your graveyard too. So I don't know if this is any good yet, right? Just looking at it, it doesn't feel like a great card, but it's a wait and see. It might be kind of an engine for those graveyard managed decks. Hey, another wild card, which I won't complain about, because wild cards are great. Because I think at one point, when you get these random packs, the odds of you getting good cards in them is reduced significantly. But, wait and see. Coveted Falcon, 2 blue, 1 colorless, artifact creature. It's a 1/4 flyer, and then whenever a Coveted Falcon attacks, gain control of target permanent you own but don't control. And it has Disguise of 1 blue, 1 colorless. So you could have played it for 3 to make it a 2/2, and then you could pay the disguise cost to flip it up. And when it's turned face up, target opponent gains control of any number of target permanents you control. Draw a card for each one they gain control of this way. So there's a few different things going on here. When it's turned face up, you get to give away a bunch of stuff that you don't need. You can give away tokens, you can give away tapped creatures, and then you get one of them back, and it's of your choice. So that's That's kind of cool. And then you're able to draw some extra cards. I don't know how good that's going to be. It feels like it has some possible possibilities, but you know what? It's still early to see. Another mythic wild card. Come on, you get some of those surveil lands. Surveil lands, Fugitive Codebreaker, 1 red, 1 colorless. It's a 2/1 creature goblin rogue, and it has prowess and haste, and then it has disguise. So you could have played it for the 3 to put it into play face down. As a 2/2 with ward 3, and then you can pay 6. This cost is reduced by 1 for each instant sorcerer card in your graveyard, and when it turns face up, you can discard your hand and draw 3 cards. It's a great late game way of, I don't have any cards left in my hand. Now I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 or 3 to flip it face up to draw some cards. And on top of that, it's got prowess and haste. It's interesting. You could play it as a 2/1 haster with prowess, or you can go through and hopefully late game get you some cards. For all those red deck win decks might be interested in playing that card. Next one is Case of the Locked High House. 1 green, 3 colorless. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. To solve it, you control 7 or more lands. Unsolved. If unsolved, you solve at the beginning of your end step. And then it's solved. When it's solved, if you have 7 more lands, you may play. Look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast creatures and enchantment spells from the top of your library. So, you're able to put it in play for 4, which allows you to play extra lands if you've got some way of drawing cards. You're able to play extra land each turn, and then once you hit that 7 landmark, you're able to start ramping up real fast by playing cards from the top of your deck. It's a pretty cool card. Don't know how good it is being 4 cost, but it's a wait and see card. A mythic, Undergrowth Recon. This is an interesting card. 2 green, 1 colorless enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So those caves or in constructed formats that are paper, you're able to go through and use all of your fetch lands. There's all kinds of good ways of making the advantages to be able to play the same card over and over and over again from your graveyard. I think this card has a lot of potential. Of course, the pre-release prices is showing that this card is kind of expensive. Of course, Magic Arena, all you have to do is use those precious wild cards. War Leader's Call, 1 red, 1 white, 1 colorless. Creatures, it's enchantment. The creatures you control have +1/+1, and whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, this card deals 1 damage to each opponent. So if you're playing a go wide strategy, you're able to do some direct damage to your opponents, and those smaller creatures are actually a little bit bigger. If you get multiples of those in play, it can get to be bonkers. Next pack. Another Fugitive Codebreaker. Next pack. The Pride of the Whole Clade. This is an interesting legendary creature, Crocodile Elk Turtle. It's a 2/15 with Defender for 1 red and 10 colorless. But this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total toughness of creatures you control. So if you've got a couple walls in play, it comes in play a little bit cheaper. And then for 2 blue, 2 colorless, until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0, and when this creature deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw cards equal to the toughness, and can attack as though if it didn't have Defender. So for 4 mana, you could make that attack as a 3/15. Yeah, it's important to block it at that point. If you don't block it, you're in trouble, because you're going to make it so your opponent will draw. Make it so you draw a ton of cards if you're attacking. Next pack. Tulsamir Midnight Light for 2 white, 1 green, 2 colorless. It's a 3/2 legendary creature Elf Scout with lifelink. And when this card enters the battlefield, create a Voja Fenstalker, a legendary 5/5 green and white wolf creature token with trample. So you get in a 3/2 and a 5/5. And then whenever a wolf you control attacks, if if this card attacks this combat, target creature an opponent controls blocks that wolf if this combat if able. So you're going to force someone to block that 5/5 Volja Fenstalker. For 5 mana, it's a lot going on there. If you have some way of being able to bounce it once your 5/5 dies, it makes it so you're able to get more of those 5/5 tokens. But they do have legendary, so you can't do it. Bounce it while it's currently while the token's in play for benefit. Unyielding Gatekeeper, 1 white, 1 colorless, is a 3/2 creature elephant cleric. Or, you can play it for 3 because it has a disguise of 1 white and 1 colorless. If you turn it face up, you get to exile another target non-land permanent. If you controlled it, return to the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, the controller creates a 2/2 white-blue detective creature token. So you can pay the disguise cost to flip it face up, and you can bounce, you can exile it and then bring it back if you're trying to save your own creature. Or you can go ahead and get rid of their biggest baddie. That's kind of cool. And or you could just have it as a 3/2 for 2. That's not bad at all. 36 packs left to go. Let's keep it rolling. Sharp-Eyed Rookie, 1 green, 1 colorless, 2/2 creature, human detective, vigilance. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if its power is greater than Sharp-Eyed Rookie or Rookie's power, or if its toughness is greater than this card's toughness, put a +1/+1 counter on this card, and you get to investigate. This card is cool. I like this card. I think it has some potential of playing a few different decks because if it's a 2/2 for 2, and then you put another creature in play and it happens to be bigger, you get to make the Sharp-Eyed Rookie bigger, and you get a way of drawing cards or putting tokens in play. It's a cool card. I think it's got some potential. Next pack, 10th District Hero, 1 white, 1 colorless. It's a 2/3 creature human. For a white and 1 colorless, collect evidence 2. So you have to remove a card with 2 or greater casting costs from the graveyard. When you do, this card becomes a human detective with base power and toughness of 4/4 and has vigilance. So that's interesting. And then once it's already a detective, you can go ahead and pay a white and 2 colorless, collect evidence 4. If it is a detective, it becomes a legendary creature named Maleva the Stalwart, and it has base power and toughness of 5/5, and it gains other creatures you control have indestructible. It takes a lot to get there. A bunch of different mana, a few different turns, cards from your graveyard, but when you do, the payoff is huge. On top of that, it's a 2/3 for 2. Conspiracy Unraveler, 1 for 2 blue, 5 colorless, is a 6/6 creature Sphinx detective. Flag, you may collect evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. So you already have to have it in play to be able to do that, collect evidence. But man, if you have some expensive spells, a lot of cards in your graveyard, those Graveyard Matters deck, will love this card. Next pack, 33 left to go. Underground Mortuary. Now, this is one of those surveil lands I want. This one's a swamp forest, and when it enters the battlefield, tapped. And when it enters the battlefield, you get to surveil 1. I love it. Surveil 1. This is, you get to look at the top card of your deck, and you can choose whether to keep it there or put it in your graveyard. And for being black and green, you can do that for a lot of benefit. I think this card is fantastic. I need a playset of each of them, especially in paper, for all of my, so I could add them to a bunch of my commander decks. Next card, Massacre Girl, Gnome Killer, 2 black, 2 colorless, 4/4 legendary creature, human assassin with menace. Creatures you control have Wither. If you don't know what Wither does, Wither makes it so your creatures deal damage. It doesn't matter if it's combat damage; it's just damage in form of -1/-1 counters. So that's kind of cool. And so whenever a creature an opponent control dies, if its toughness was less than 1, you get to draw a card. This screams red-black. You attacking with your little creatures and making your opponent's creatures smaller. And then sooner or later, you're going to end up killing your opponent's creatures. It's so good. It's so good. She is incredible. It's wait to be see how good she's going to be in other formats, but I think she will do very good in a red-black deck in standard. I'll have to work on a deck for her. I think it'll be good. Next pack. Case of the Stashed Skeleton. 1 black, 1 colorless enchantment case. When this case enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and suspect it. So if it's suspected, it gives it menace and it makes it so they can't block. To solve, you control no suspected skeletons. So all you have to do is attack in with it, and hopefully sooner or later they'll block with 2 creatures and kill it. And once it's solved, you can pay a black and a colorless, sacrifice this case, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. So it becomes a tutor. It's kind of cool, especially as a rare. The only disadvantage is if your opponent decides to say, I'm not going to block that 2/1. But there's always going to be ways around it. We target with your own cards. You can go through and sacrifice it, presumably as some kind of cost. It's kind of cool. I am a fan of this card, especially because of the fact that you could sack it later on to do a demonic tutor. Yeah, it's a good card. I think that card's got some potential of playing in quite a few different formats. Next pack, Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. 1 red, 1 black, 4 colorless, 6/6 legendary creature, demon, flying, trample. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. So it gives your opponent pretty much a villainous choice whether they want to sacrifice 2 non-land, non-token permanents or if they want to give you 2 additional cards. As a red-black deck, it's hard giving someone 2 additional cards because most likely those cards are going to be able to kill your things anyways. Reenact the Crime. Instant, 3 blue, 1 colorless. It's an exile target non-land card in a graveyard that was put there from anywhere this turn. You get to copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. This is interesting. So if you went through and you decide to play a spell, and you can go through and copy it. So let's say I take another turn spell, and you happen to have the extra 4, you're able to play it again. So you're taking 2 extra turns. Or you're able to go through and if you played some kind of removal, you can play it again. Or if someone went through and killed one of your creatures, you can exile it and then put it right back in play again as a copy. This card is cool, though the one drawback is the 3 blue, 1 colorless. It is expensive. It's very expensive to be able to play, but at the same time, it makes it so if someone destroys your creatures or if someone goes through and if you played some cool bomb-ass card, you're able to play it again. And it's cool. It's really cool. I don't know if I'd rather play with another bomb-ass card or play with it. But Commander, we'll see how it goes in Commander. Pyrotechnic Performer, 1 red, 1 colorless. It's a creature Viashino Assassin. It's a 3/2, and you can pay it for as a face-down creature for 3. And then you can pay the disguise cost of 1 red. Whenever this card or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So this card is going to be goes really well as an upgrade to the Deadly Disguise Commander deck that just came out for Murders on Karlov Manor. Or, if you have some other way, I don't know if it's going to be that good in a actual standard deck, but it's a wait and see type thing since it just came out. 27 packs left to go. Next card, No Witnesses. 2 white, 2 colorless sorcery. Each player who controls the most creatures investigates, then destroy all creatures. Yep, it's another Wrath of God effect for only 4 mana. And if they control the most creatures, they get a clue token. It's not a big deal. I think this card is great. I think this is really cool. I am a big fan of Wrath effects. Next pack. Mythic. Trostani, 3 Whisperers. For a white, a green, and a combination of color, white or green, you get a 4/4 legendary creature, draw in. And then you can pay a green and old colorless. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. For white or green, target creature gains Vigilance till end of turn. For a white and 2 colorless, target creature gains double strike till end of turn. So if you have lots of mana untapped, you can make your creatures pretty bomb diggity. Or you can make this creature pretty cool too. It's a cool card for a 3-drop 4/4. I think it's going to go in a few different decks, especially token decks. Next pack. Cryptic Coat. 1 blue, 2 colorless artifact equipment. When this card enters the battlefield, cloak the top card of your library, then attach Cryptic Coat to it. Creature gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. And then you can pay a blue and white, a colorless, to return Cryptic Coat to its owner's hand when it's in play. So you get to go through and you pay a 3. So you pretty much take the top card of your deck and put it face down, and your creature becomes a 3/2, and then you can pop it back, pop the card to your hand, back to your hand, so you're able to play it again and again and again. And then sooner or later, some of those cards are going to be that you put a disguise cloaked. You get hopefully they have disguise or more for some other way of being able to pull them face up. Next pack. 24. We're just under halfway. It is Expedited Inheritance. As a red card, I don't know how good this is. 2 red, it's an enchantment. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, its controller may exile that many cards from the top of the library. They may play those cards until the end of their next turn. So what does red do the best? It deals damage. So yeah. Unless you're dealing damage to your own cards, it's... man, that's rough. I can see it working well in a dinosaur deck, but I don't see it working well in a red deck or a red or any other combination of colors with red, because red likes to do damage. Giving your opponents cards to play doesn't seem like it's a good thing. Next pack. Illicit Masquerade. This card's interesting. 1 black, 3 colorless. Enchantment flash. When this card enters the battlefield, put an imposter counter on each creature you control. Whenever a creature you control with an imposter counter dies, exile it. Return up to 1 other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you have some way of putting cards from top of your deck into your graveyard, and then you play this and you chump block with whatever imposter cards you have, you're able to go through and get rid of those, or sacrifice them, you block with them, you attack with them, and they die. You're able to get your big baddies in play pretty easy. I like this card. I think this card is bonkers good, though it might be a little slow. Sharp-Eyed Rookie, another one. Next pack. Case's Stashed Skeleton, another one of those. That's good. I like them. Next pack. Outrageous Robbery. It's an instant 2 black X colorless. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library face down. You may look at and play those cards as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though they were any type to cast it. This is interesting. So you're pretty much paying 2+X to be able to play your opponent's cards. I don't know how I feel about it. Next pack. Doppelgang. 1 blue, 1 green, and XXX. So you got to pay the X spell part 3 times. So if you were going to target 1 permanent, it's going to cost you 5. If you're going to target 2 permanents, it's going to cost you 2 + 2 + 2 + 2. It's going to cost you 8. You're going to target 3 permanents. It's going to cost you 3 + 3 + 3 + 1 + 1. So it's going to cost you 11. Wow, it gets expensive and out of control pretty fast. For each of X target permanents, create X tokens that are copies of that permanents. But so, if you had 3 different permanents, you target for each of 3 different permanents, you create 3 tokens that are copies of that permanent. Wow. Your board state can get crazy if you have the right amount of mana, or enough mana. Next pack. Coveted Falcon. 2 blue, 1 colorless. Artifact creature bird. I think we already got one of those. Next pack. Wild cards. Do a wild card check after this. Teysa, Opulent Oligarch. One black, one white, one colorless is 2/3 legendary creature, human advisor with death touch. At the beginning of your end step, investigate for each opponent who lost life this turn. Whenever a clue token is a clue you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white and black spirit token with flying. This ability only triggers once each turn. Only triggering one each turn is rough, but at the same time, if you deal damage, you're able to start creating some clues. And then creating clues, you sacrifice them to draw cards. And as you sacrifice them, you are also getting 1/1 black and white spirit tokens. A lot is going on here. It's a lot. I don't know if it's too slow, but I think that she'll end up seeing some kind of play, especially because she has that death touch keyword. Next pack. 15 packs. Oh, current count, 21 rares, 10 mythics, 22 rares. Oh, 21 rares still. Hedge Maze. This is the Forest Island version of the Surveil. So does the Surveil one comes into play tapped, and it produces a blue or green. Next pack. Steam Core Scholar. This is an interesting guy. It's a blue 2 colorless 2/2 creature, weird detective, flying vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, you get to draw 2 cards. Then discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant or sorcerer card or a creature card with flying. So, you're able to, if you're able to draw another one of those or another creature that has flying or a sorcerer or instant, you only have to discard 1 card. It's a 2/2 flying vigilance. It's interesting. I don't know how good it is, but it's interesting. I bet it's going to be great, fantastic in draft or sealed format. Warrior's Call, another one. Yes, I want to get 3 of those. Yes, 3 of those would be great. Mythic wildcard. Cryptex, another Cryptex. I got 2 of them. Next pack. Case of the Ransacked Lab. So this is an enchantment case for 1 blue 2 colorless. Instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less. Okay. To solve, when you cast 4 or more instants and sorcery spells this turn. Okay, so that gets 4 spells in 1 turn. All right. They're going to be a little bit cheaper, but still be able to cast 4 if they're going to cost 1 or 2 and then drop down to 1. Still going to have 4 cards and he has to be able to do it. And when it's solved, whenever you cast an instant or sorcerer spell, you get to draw a card. So yeah, if you're able to solve it, you're able to play a spell, draw a card, play a spell, draw a card, play a spell, draw a card. Oh, it can get out of control, but to solve it, that's the kicker. That's gonna be difficult. Rare, Treacherous Greed. 1 black, 1 white, 1 colorless instant. As an additional cost of the spell, sacrifice a creature that dealt damage this turn. Sacrifice a creature that dealt damage this turn. You can draw 3 cards. Each opponent loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life. So, someone attacks you, you block. It's gonna if it was big enough not to die, sacrifice it. Do 3 damage. You gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. It's not very good. Next pack. Hedge Maze. Seen that one already? 7 left. Reenact the Crime. The second one we've gotten out of that. No Witnesses. Another one of those. Doppelgang. Second one of those. Getting a lot of repeats here. Relieve the Past. 1 green, 1 white, 5 color sorcery. Return up to 1 target artifact card and up to 1 target land card and up to 1 target non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. They are 5/5 creatures in addition to their other types. Wow. Interesting. 7 drop. It's expensive. I don't know how often I would use that. Second one in a row. And it's not a great card. Come on, Wizards. Case of the Uneaten Feast. It's an enchantment case for 1 white color or 1 white mana. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. That's great. To solve, you've gained 5 or more life this turn. So if you've got some lifelink creatures, I'm looking at you, Angels. You can solve it, and then you sacrifice this case creature cards in your graveyard again. You may cast this card from your graveyard until end of turn. This is going to go great in those Angel decks. Wow, great card in Angel decks. Last regular pack. Let's see if I get anything good. Another Warrior's Call. There's my third one. I don't need it anymore. Golden packs. I don't know how I feel about these golden packs. Sphinx of the Clear Skies. Homicidal Investigator. 1 black, 1 colorless. 2/2 creature human detective. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures you control die, you get to investigate. This triggers only once each turn. Doppelgang, that's the third one. Summit Vizier of Nactactum. Aurelia, the law above. 1 white, 1 red, 3 colorless. A legendary creature, angel, flying, vigilance, haste. Wow, it's a great angel. And then on top of that, whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, this card deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3 life. So it does a lightning helix to your opponents, right to their face. So if you or they attack with 5 creatures, you get to draw a card, and you do 3 damage to your opponents, and you gain 3 life. And on top of that, it's a 4/4 flying vigilance haste. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Last card, Sea Double. I'm only stopping for the latest set cards, because everything else, I probably already have one. Mythic. Kaya, Spirit's Justice. 1 black, 1 white, 2 colorless. It is a legendary planeswalker Kaya with 3 loyalties. So stackability, whenever 1 or more creatures you control or creature cards in a graveyard are put into exile, you may choose a creature card from among them until end of turn. Target token you control becomes a copy of it and has flying. Okay. You can add 2 loyalty, surveil 2, and then exile a card from your graveyard. There you go. +1. Create a 1/1 white black spirit token with flying. Okay, there's your tokens. And then -2. Exile target card or creature card or creature you control. For each other player, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. Wow, there's a lot going on that one. She does a lot. So you get to make a token. Then you can sack the token to exile target creature an opponent controls, or you can surveil and then exile a card from a graveyard. It doesn't have to be your graveyard. A lot is going on there. A lot going on. I think she's going to see some play. She's going to hurt a lot of different decks because you're able to get rid of their key pieces that they're going to be bringing back from their graveyards. Yeah, I like her. Another Aurelia above law, another homicide investigator, Sahili. Case of Stash Skeleton, that's my third one. And Song of Toteras, another golden pack. Mythic. Kiaria, the Sovereign of the Deep. I really didn't play enough in Caves. Prophetic Performer. Reenact the Crime. I don't need any more of those. Thundering Falls. Great. It's a surveil land, but it is a mountain island. I need some of those in paper. Amadane, the Pyro Hammer. Yeah, this one's great. I can't wait to build an actual commander deck in paper that's centered around that card. Mythic. Narset Enlightened Exile. Mondrake Glory Dominus. That's a great poem. Another Telsumir Midnight Light. Expedited Inheritance Garbage. Simian Simulacrum. And Rosary Elemental. 3 packs left. Start with the Mythic. Karn's Silex. Judith Karnath Connoisseur for 1 red, 1 black, 3 colorless, 3/4 legendary creature, human shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you get to choose one. That spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink. Oh, I can't wait to do 1 damage to all my opponent's cards, especially when they get Death Touch and Lifelink. And then create it, or you can create a 2/2 red imp creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Yeah, she's good. For 5, she's good. Whale of the Forgotten. Ill-Timed Explosion. There's a card I haven't seen yet. Red, a blue, and 2 colorless sorcery. Draw 2 cards. You may discard 2 cards when you do. Ill-Timed Explosion deals X damage to each creature when X is the greatest mana value among cards discarded this way. So if you have no cards no creatures in play, all you gotta do is discard a big, heavy cost spell, and it's gonna pretty much do a board wipe. Love it. Legolas Master Archer. Hey, come on, guys. Wizards, these are supposed to be all cards that are standard legal. Holdian Hatcher. 2 packs left. Sovereign Alkanite Ahu. Another 10th District Hero. Molten Collapse. Fairy Mastermind. Which I always need more of those. I think I already have a playset, but yeah, March 1st. 4th Doppelgang. Don't need any more of those. 1 ring to rule them all. Come on, no more Lord of the Rings cards. I don't need any more of those things unless they're physical. Mythic Sword of Forge Frontier. Here's a new one. Ezrim Agency Chief. 2 blue, 2 white, 1 colorless. It's a 5/5 legendary creature, Archon Detective, flying. And then when it enters the battlefield, you get to investigate twice. You can pay a colorless, sacrifice an artifact. It gains the choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Hexproof till end of turn. For 5 drop, to be able to create 2 clue tokens, and in addition to that, you can sacrifice them to give an awesome ability. Ezrim is a great finisher, especially in blue. Leaf Crowned Visionary. Virtue and Knowledge. Yay, Virtue cards. Lazav, Wearer of Faces. This is a cool card, but I don't know if it's going to see much play. For a blue and a black, it's a legendary creature, Shapeshifter Detective that's a 2/3. When it attacks, you get exile target card from a graveyard. So you can do your cards, you can do your opponent's cards, and then you get to create a clue token. But if you sacrifice a clue, you may have this card become a copy of a creature card exiled with it until end of turn. So you can make it so it copies your opponent's big baddie, or even better, your own big baddie. Last card of the pack, Norn's Wellspring. Okay. That's it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing these packs. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about what I opened. There's some cool cards. I didn't get enough of the actual lands, the Surveil lands. I was hoping out of 50 packs I would get 6 or 7 of them, but at the end, now I started with a decent number of wild cards, but now I got 23 rares, 12 mythics. That's not going to be horrible to build decks. And also, in addition to that, I want to play some sealed. Hopefully I can get some more awesome cards to be able to build decks with, because spending wild cards is like pulling teeth. It's hard. It's super hard. I don't want to do it. No, most people don't want to do it. And you know what? I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions or comments, put it in the comments below. I read them all. I take time to answer them all. And until next time, keep it rolling. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.